Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make these amazing melt-in-your-mouth keto lemon cheesecake cookies. The macronutrient ratio for these cookies is 3.4 to 1, with 3 grams of total carbs, of which 0.3 gram is soluble fiber and 1.6 gram is insoluble fiber, resulting in 1.1 gram of net carbs per cookie. I'd like to remind you that when baking with nut flours, it's really important to aerate all of your dry ingredients through a fine sieve. So place a fine sieve over a mixing bowl and add your almond flour, unflavored whey protein isolate, coconut flour, glucomannan, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Whisk until everything has passed through the sieve. Then use your whisk to stir the ingredients in the mixing bowl to make sure that everything is thoroughly combined. Then set this aside for a moment. For the next step, if you're going to use a stand mixer, place the paddle attachment onto your stand mixer. Add your room temperature butter into the bowl and beat at high speed until the butter has become very pale yellow and fluffy. This took me about 2 minutes. Also scrape the butter from the side of the bowl and the paddle. Next, add the room temperature cream cheese and beat with the butter until the cream cheese is well combined. In order to ensure that all the ingredients are well mixed, it's important to stop and scrape your bowl frequently. Now reduce your mixture speed to low. You want to do this because when you're going to add the sweetener, you don't want to create a dust cloud. And now add the sweetener. Beat for about 4 to 5 minutes until the mixture is very light and fluffy. Then add the lemon juice, lemon zest, and vanilla, and 1 of the 2 eggs. Beat until everything, especially the egg, is well combined. Then add the second egg and beat until the second egg is also well combined. Now reduce your mixer speed again to very low and begin to add the dry ingredients, 1 or 2 cups at a time. Allow time for the dry ingredients to just start to incorporate. Repeat by adding 1 or 2 more cups of the dry ingredients. Always make sure that you incorporate each addition before you add some more, and keep repeating until you've added all of your dry ingredients. When you've added all of your dry ingredients, beat only until everything is well combined. At this point, do not overmix. The dough is very sticky, so it has to be chilled before you can use it. Place a strip of cling wrap directly onto the dough so that the cling wrap touches the dough and makes a fairly airtight seal over the surface. Then refrigerate for 60 minutes to allow the dough to chill and harden a bit. This will make it much easier to work with. And the time in the fridge will also help the flavors to develop and infuse into the dough batter. When you're ready to start forming your cookies, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius. And don't forget to place the rack in the middle position of your oven. Now that your dough is chilled, and to form the dough balls, you can either use a 1-inch or 2.5 centimeter ice cream scoop, or using a spoon, scoop out enough dough so you can roll a 1-inch or 2.5 centimeter cookie ball. As you're making them, place each cookie dough ball onto a parchment-lined cookie sheet. Space the cookies with plenty of room between each ball. For a regular size cookie sheet, I place 4 dough balls per each of the 5 rows. This seems to be about right. After you've finished all 20 of your cookie dough balls, get some very cold water and dip your fingers into the water, and then gently press down to flatten each dough ball. When this is done, place the tray into the oven and bake for about 15 minutes. But you may have to adjust the baking time because it will depend on your oven and how thick your cookies are. Baking time is also affected if your dough is warm or still chilled. My timing was based on using slightly cool dough. Since this recipe actually makes 32 cookies, I made the other 12 dough balls. I laid them in a single layer and then placed them in the freezer until hard. To store them for next time, I place a piece of parchment to separate the 2 rows. If you do decide to freeze your leftover cookie dough, store them in a sealable container until the next time you have a cookie craving. When the batch of cookies that you're baking are done, remove the tray from the oven and leave the cookies to completely cool in the baking dish, because if you move them too soon, the cookies will fall apart. They're very delicate at this stage. When the cookies have cooled, transfer them to a cooling rack. The cookies should be very light in color. Do not overbake. However, you may see a very light golden ring at the bottom of these cookies. as long as the rest of the cookie still appears to be underdone when you remove them from the oven. An appearance of a bit underdone will result in a very creamy texture that melts in your mouth and has a really nice cheesecake taste. This is the same process and methodology I used when I was making my sugar cookies. The finished cookies will be at their best when they have been left out overnight. When you're ready to serve the cookies, there's two ways you can decorate them. Either give the cookies a light sprinkle of confectionery sweetener, as I'm doing here. This is a really nice bit of sweetness to contrast the lemon, and it also looks really nice. Or an alternative way to finish these cookies is to melt some Lind 90% chocolate or baker's chocolate with a bit of cream and sweetener to make a nice ganache, and use a small piping bag, plastic baggie, or as I'm doing here, a parchment cone such as the one I've just made. Whichever of these you're using, cut a very small opening in the tip and then zigzag over the top of the cookies. Place them in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes so the chocolate hardens. These cookies should be stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator, not on your counter. If you're wondering what these cookies taste like, they really do have a cheesecake flavor, but they have this amazing melt in your mouth texture that feels like a really decadent treat. So I hope you enjoy them. Thank you very much for watching my video. It would really help me out if you could turn on your notification bell so you will get a heads up when I post my next video. See you next time. The link for the printable recipe for these keto lemon cheesecake cookies will be available in the description below.